Over here at Sales Maven, we celebrate Christmas in July, so I have a special offer for you. It is an opportunity for you to come and join the Sales Maven Society right now. This is my group coaching program, and you're going to get it for an unbelievable price. So normally it's $147 a month, but you can get your first month of access for just 50 cents. 50 cents. That's it. This is my way of showing appreciation for you being a listener to the Sales Maven podcast. And it's an opportunity to give you a chance to experience the immense value of this program firsthand. So don't miss out. This incredible promotion is only available for a couple days while we're celebrating Christmas in July. So come elevate your sales skills with us and reach new heights in your business today. Go to yoursalesmaven.com/July 23. That's JULY, the number 2 and the number 3, and you'll get your first month of access for 50 cents. I cannot wait to support you in that group. See you there.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Ramirez, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Ramirez. I am your own personal sales maven here to offer you tips, techniques, and strategies to master the sales conversation. Today's episode is an on-air coaching call with the brilliant and the amazing Gina Ramirez. She's one of our own Sales Maven Society members. Gina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm so excited that you said yes. Now, for those who haven't met you yet, tell everybody a little bit about you and your business and what you're doing.
My business is Wellness with Gina. I'm a certified health coach and licensed therapist, and I work with professional women who may be struggling to balance their professional and personal life.
Okay, so what are traditionally things that people would come to you and say, I need a little Gina in my life?
Yeah, it's usually about the mental load that I feel like all career women face, trying to manage how do I get healthy meals on the table for myself, for my family? How do I organize my life, my work, and my home life? And how do I organize my time? So it usually revolves around those 3 topics. They may be dealing with weight gain or hormonal things that are coming up for them. And that's how it kind of presents itself as, oh, look at me. Now I'm starting to gain weight. I don't know what's going on, or my hormones are off, or I'm just not feeling quite right. But then we look at the totality of the person and their lifestyle.
Okay. So typically, what are the different ways that you work with your clients?
We can do one-on-one, but the most popular way is a 90-day coaching program that I have. It's a group coaching program, and we work through different topics each month.
Okay. So, and that program runs how often?
It runs every 90 days, but people can jump in at any time. It's an evergreen kind of program, so it's open at any time.
Okay. So people don't have to wait for you to do a big, like, okay, the doors are open. They can just jump in.
They can just jump in.
That's good to know. I love that. I love that. Okay. And what do you think is probably if you were to say, like, what's the thing that should be an indicator besides some of the stuff that you've talked about for somebody who might not be thinking about it from a hormone standpoint, might not be thinking about it from a weight gain standpoint, but is struggling? Like, what would be something that wouldn't be necessarily super obvious to them, but is still that indicator of like, oh, there's help out there for me with that?
Yeah, that's such a good question, because I think we get so used to our lifestyle being high, intensity, and we're going at 100 miles an hour and we're fatigued all the time, no matter how much sleep I'm getting. I'm not there 100% for my VIPs in my life. They're getting the leftovers of me, not feeling satisfied and fulfilled in all areas of my life, saying yes to everything, the people pleasing kind of thing, and just feeling like you have zero left in the tank for yourself and for those people who are most important to you.
Okay. So when somebody jumps into the 90-day program, what are some of the topics? Are these some of the same topics that are covered in the program?
Yes, month 1 is all about reclaiming your time, because that is what I see most often in professional women, is that we give all of our time away and then we have nothing left for ourselves. And we end up wanting to go down the scroll hole of social media at night because we just want to escape, right?
Yeah.
So month 1 is reclaiming your time. Month 2 is about the mind-body connection. That's where we dig into food and mood and reframing your relationship with food and movement. And month 3 is all about healthy habits and creating some healthy habits around boundaries, sleep, meditation, relationships, that sort of thing.
I love it. So at the end of the 90 days, what are some of the results that clients often report to you?
That they stress less, that they have better boundaries and time management skills. So all the things that we're working on, they're ticking off the box as far as that testimonial at the end that I always ask for, what resonated most with you. And those are the things that always come back. Like, it's so much better. And what I love too is that people come back. So I'll have the same repeat customers, if you will, because maybe you need a little tune-up, things are going okay for a while and then, we hit a bump in the road. So it's always nice to be able to come back.
I love that. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, this is an on-air coaching call for you. So I want to make sure we have time. Tell me, what would be something that I could offer to you today? How can I serve you?
I think I struggle most with sharing the value of this program for people to want to jump in right away, because it's so broad. And I feel like I don't know exactly how to succinctly capture, this is what it is, and it's going to be amazing for you.
So when you're saying like sharing the value, do you mean when you're marketing the program, like out onto social media, on the website? And, or do you mean when you're actually having live conversations with prospective clients?
I feel like it's easier on social media than it is to capture the totality of it when I'm talking to people. What it is that I do, because it is kind of broad.
Okay. So here's where, this isn't where I was thinking we were going to go, but this is where I'm going to go. And you tell me if you want me to divert and go somewhere else. One of the things that I think is really important when you're having live conversations with prospective clients is that you're asking really smart, strategic questions that is getting it's helping them start to uncover some of those sticking points for them. And while you're asking these really smart strategic questions, you are writing down their key phrases and the key things that they're saying, their answers to your questions, so that when you do start talking about the program, instead of trying to focus on these high-level values that people talk about that they get, I want you to talk about how the program specifically is going to address or solve the thing that they said using their key phrases in the discovery, or like once you've moved to the proposal piece of the conversation that you're referencing back. So for instance, if I'm asking somebody a question like, what would you say is your biggest struggle around time right now? And they go, my biggest struggle around time is that I get to the end of the day and I don't ever get anything checked off my to-do list, right? So let's just say that that's their answer. So then when we're talking about the 90-day coaching program as a good fit for them, one of the things I'm going to reference back is I'm going to say, we actually have a whole section where we talk about time management. And so at the end of the day, you'll no longer feel like you didn't check anything off of your to-do list. As a matter of fact, you'll have a to-do list that's very easy for you to accomplish because you're not having a to-do list with 1,000 things on it. We're going to teach you a strategy. Now, again, I'm making this stuff up because I don't know if you actually do this, Gina, so help me here. But so I'm referencing back their key phrase, which is, at the end of my day, I haven't checked anything off my to-do list. So I'm going to make sure I'm talking about that when they go through this section of the program, we're going to ensure that their to-do list, they are checking things off and they're only putting things on the to-do list that really matter. So it's going to be a lot easier for them to accomplish the things that are going to move them forward in their business and in their life. So I think that is one of the, that's, it's the idea here is that anything that your prospective client says to you, it bears more weight. It holds more value. It's more credible than anything that you can talk about with your program and the value of your program. If you can show people using their key phrases and their key words and address it, address how your program is going to solve this, it's going to give them what they've said they wanted. It is really like speaking a foreign language to somebody who is just so happy to finally find somebody who can speak their language, right? Like if you go to another country and you're like, it's so hard for me to speak the language here. And then you come across somebody who, speaks really good English to you. And it's like, oh gosh, thank goodness. Like, I really appreciate that I can just not have to think so hard. That's how your prospective clients will feel in that conversation with you. It's like, oh, Gina is just easier to talk to because you're using their key phrases and their keywords, and they mean more to that person than anything that you can say. And so I often give this example also is that it's like we've all seen a million of these different examples where they use the tip of the iceberg, and like what you can see above the water is just this tiny little piece, but what lies below the water is so much bigger. And so when you use somebody's key phrases and words, it sounds like you're focused on this really small little, like just what's above the water. But realistically, those specific words, those specific phrases actually get deep down into that person. Like those words are the bigger stuff, the stuff that you can't see below the water, because they attach a lot more meaning to their key phrases and words. And you wouldn't even begin to know how to do it in any other way unless you spent a ton of time with this person, got to know them, knew all about their life, knew their history, knew their experience, and you can't do that in that short of a call. So using their key phrases and their keywords, I think, is going to help you instill the value at a deeper level. So that's one suggestion. Now I've been talking a lot, so I want to hear what you have to say or what questions come up for you about that.
Yeah, no, I love that because I have some things I can go back and reference where people have said specifically, like, these are some pain points for me. So I can definitely take that and, referring to maybe social media or email when I'm writing those to really pay specific attention to that stuff instead of being in my own. A lot of times I think I just get in my own head and I'm like, oh, let me give you the whole thing when you don't really need the whole thing.
Yeah. And so specifically, if it's something that has been stated on social media and when you're talking about it, and this idea of like giving the whole thing, because you know what it all means. And it's really easy for you because all the pieces and parts fit together in your mind because you had so much time to process and make sense of all of it. You've had neurons firing. You're making all these connections in your brain. And unfortunately, when somebody's hearing about something for the first time, they don't have those type of connections firing. So that doesn't really make all that much sense to them. So you're better off in that particular moment, focus on one specific benefit, one value versus trying to give all the values. So when you're talking about the program in your marketing, your emails, yes, you can talk about benefits and you can give a few, but specifically on social media, I would say like focus on the one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to recognize and act on a buying signal? I have a gift that is going to teach you these 17 buying signals so that you're ready when you get them to take action and move somebody to the next part of the sales conversation. You can get this right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it now. Like, because it's that bite-sized piece for people to go, oh, well, if this is just one of the things that it does, and I need this one thing, I'm going to get so much more out of this program than I even probably can suspect.
Right. Right. And the objection I run up against a lot, even, talking about what you're saying and using their words, is that they don't have time.
Yeah.
And so that's been another, like, how do I know this is an objection question, but getting
That's
over
okay.
that hump of, the time piece and showing, hey, there's still value here even though you don't have the time, that you think you don't have the time to complete.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the ways time is almost, I'm going to say it's probably one of the most, it's time and money are the two most common objections for every business owner that I work with. And also for people working with me too. It's always time or money. The thing that I think where you can use a technique that will help them make sense of why now is the time. And it's not going to work every single time, because the fact of the matter is not everybody's ready for you. Right. Even though they need you, they're not quite ready, because it is going to require effort, right? Like, they got to show up to the calls. They have to, go through the content or whatever's happening in there. So there is a participation piece to it. Where you can help with that is by sharing story. So this is where I would bring story in when that's their objection, is time. And so I want you to tell a story or two of other clients that was their biggest concern prior to joining, and how they made it work in their schedule. If you have a specific example of what one person did. And so, and I mean this, like, I really want you to tell a story about a client. So don't tell a story about all the clients, right? It has to be, so, I have a client who is very similar to you. And one of her biggest struggles was this time issue. And here's why. She's got 6 kids. She's got, only tell stories that are true. So I'm making a story up here about time. And then, and what we were able to do is we looked at our calendar and we found this one little nugget of time of something that she had on her calendar. She wasn't consistently doing it. So instead of having that on her calendar, we put the program on the calendar. It allowed for her to consistently show up. And now every time I meet with her, anytime that she comes back and kind of re-engages with the group, one of the things she always talks about is how her calendar is no longer full. And she's got all these big open chunks of time on her calendar. And it was because of the things that she learned. Now, it was probably uncomfortable for her in the first month. But by month 2, things were starting to really cook and move for her. And it opened up all of this time, frankly, in her schedule. And that is something we would like to do for you. Does that sound like something you'd be willing to give it a try? So I have to tell a story that helps paint the picture about one person and the way it made it work for them. And then I'm going to follow up with an invitation to join.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that story. Being super specific too. Yeah. Because I have a tendency to be a little bit more broad with that and not super specific on this person. And I do have a person in mind. So
okay, good. So tell that story. Tell it to everybody who has the objection about time. Now, again, it's not going to necessarily land with every single person, because not every single person is ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, because people will remember the stories that you told. And then when they are ready, they're going to be like, oh, I want to be like her, the mom with 6 kids with the open calendar now. I want that to be my life. I'm ready. And the thing about getting specific, I think a lot of us can initially think, gosh, I shouldn't be too specific because that's going to actually alienate people. And yet we find that the more specific you are in your examples and in your stories, the more it becomes kind of a universal, easy to relate to. I listened to one of my favorite podcasts. This is kind of off topic, so bear with me here for a second. But one of my all-time favorite podcasts is with one of my all-time favorite people. And the podcast is Naked Lunch, and it's with Phil Rosenthal. I love him so much. He's the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond and my favorite show on Netflix, which is Somebody Feed Phil. I think I was just talking about this in our group call this week. So, and he, here's a guy who's created some really amazing things. And when he's interviewing all these people who've accomplished all these things, he also talks about this same concept in like, oh, well, we can't create a show that's specific to this one group of people, or we can't create a story that, and they say over and over again, the more specific you are, the more universal it relates. So I want you to do that in your storytelling as well. Be specific. Tell one story, one example of a client, instead of trying to say all my clients or many of my clients. When you can get more specific. And the thing about story is it truly is the language of the brain. Our brains love story. We can relate to story. The thing about story is we always look for ourselves in a story. So if you tell me a story about a client who struggled with time with 6 kids, I don't have kids, but I struggle with time. And, I'm going to find a way to relate that story to my life in some way, because this is the way our brains work. We like the ability to associate, to make sense of story. So it's actually a really effective way to overcome an objection.
Yeah. And I think we remember it too for later. So,
yeah.
So even if they don't, act on whatever it is now, they may, next time they see me, next time I'm in their inbox, I think that's something that they remember.
Yeah. People often tell stories back to me of stories that I have told at some point, either on a coaching call or they've heard it on a podcast. They will tell me this story back. And sometimes they have different even like point behind the story than what I was even intending when I was telling the story, because you just have to let that story kind of ruminate and resonate. And at some point when they are the right client for you, they will come back and they will be like, oh, that story you told, I never forgot about the woman and what she struggled with. And, So there we go, my friend. There's a few things for you to work with, right? Be specific, tell some stories, and use their keywords and key phrases. And we have a training in the Sales Maven Society. If you haven't gone through the training that's called, let me think about what this is called. It is called The Key to Closing Sales. I have to think about it. It's been a while since I've looked at this training. I'm going to look it up when we pause this recording for you. But in there, it's talking about how to use language specifically, and then a technique that's known as backtracking.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen that training, I'm gonna get you a link to it, because it will give you kind of the breakdown of how specifically to do it, to where it doesn't just sound like you're mimicking back what they're saying, but it will resonate at a really deep level.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
That sounds good.
All right. Okay. So as we wrap up, I have 2 questions for you. One question is, you've been a member now of the Sales Maven Society for a little bit. What would you say has been one benefit for you of being in the group?
I had wanted to join for, I'm not joking, years, because I heard you back on, I want to say it was Natalie Ekdahl's podcast years ago.
Yeah, it's been years since I've been on Nat's podcast.
And I thought one of these days I'm going to work with her or join. But I held off because I thought that it was too broad for me. Like, it wasn't specific enough to coaching and what I was doing. And I didn't know, I wasn't sure. So I jumped in some other programs. And you know what's different about your program is that it is I felt like it's a combination of all the things that I had tried, but you get it in like one little container. That is such a fantastic value. The price, what you're getting for the price is amazing to me. It's like a little mini mastermind with the networking calls. And then the coaching calls are really specific, which, I was kind of afraid of that. And then the content is robust. I mean, it is probably one of the most robust trainings programs that I've ever seen. So there's so much in there. And the quality of people, come on. Like, wow. The quality of people blow me away every time.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I've never heard anybody say it that way. I feel like I'm going to have Jamie come back and capture this little, like what you said. That was so great. Thank you for that. And I agree. The quality of the people in there, they blow me away. I'm always like, how did I get so blessed? I'm so blessed to get to work with people like you, to have this group. It really is special. I feel like it's special. And I don't say that about like, hey, look at me, I'm special. I mean, the group, it's special on its own without me. It's so great. I'm just so great. I'm so grateful to get to work with people like you. So thank you for being there.
It's pretty awesome. I'm very grateful for all that you do.
Thank you. My watch is talking at me all of a sudden. Hey, so one last question, because I suspect that there's probably some people listening that are having some struggles and we're like, I could use a little support, or, my food and mood are not in alignment, or my time management is struggling. I could use a little Gina in my life. What is the best way for people to get a hold of you?
My website, wellnesswithgina.com, is honestly the best way. And when you head over there, there's a pop-up with a freebie about creating some space in your life and your mental load and relief from all of that. So definitely take advantage of that little freebie.
And I do have some insider knowledge here that you have something really exciting coming up September timeframe. This will air before that. So I'm going to say to people, if this sparks any little, even like a little grain of interest for you, go get on Gina's, go get her pop-up, go get that free download, because then you're going to be on her list. And when she makes this big announcement of something that's coming, you're going to want to participate in it. Is it September? Is that right? Or is it August?
August is the free 3-day training that I'll be doing for.
You're going to want to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun, intentional living there. And then September is when the next 90-day program opens. So.
Okay. So go grab that, go get onto Gina's list, take part in her 3-day event. It's going to be phenomenal. And then move right into her 90-day program from there. So Gina, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I love your questions that you bring to the group. I love your participation. And I'm really grateful that you said yes to having this time with me today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
It's been fun. Okay. And for you, the listener, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us. I hope that this spurred something for you in the way that you are describing the value of your offering and how you can do it a little bit differently, maybe to what you're doing now, so that you feel more confident in that and that you end up closing more sales. And if you want to take part in this amazing group and get access to the content, get access to coaching with me, you are invited to join the Sales Maven Society right now. There's a special link for you in the show notes. Go grab that and come join us. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com. salesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it.